Oh, Briana had an emergency, so she just sent
Oh,
me a
damn.
text and she
Okay.
couldn't make it. But she sends her
Damn.
regards. She sends her best to everyone. But ladies and gentlemen, we are now live on a conversation with, and I am joined by the amazing cast of the hit Tubi original film Sugar Mama. And as always, I'm joined by my amazing co-host Okema T Moore. But again, we are joined by the amazing cast of the hit Tubi film and the director of the film. So we have Latarsha Rose in the building. We have Liyah Chante Thompson in the building. We have Jibre Hordges in the building. We have Bobby Yan in the building. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When I first saw this film, I looked at my wife and I said, well, what the hell just happened? But that movie was absolutely amazing. So welcome to a conversation with, I am so happy to have you guys here. How's everybody doing?
Doing well. Doing well.
Doing
Thank you for
amazing.
having
That was
us.
really good.
Okay. Well, you know what? Oh, did you say something, Bobby? I didn't hear you.
I'll just say it's really nice to see everybody here together because I don't think we've ever got to really be around each other since the movie came out, and this is you know, a nice little celebration to see all my beautiful cast here. And I'm sorry Brianna's not here. So Floyd and Okema, thank you for this. We appreciate that. So
Well,
We're
you know
happy
what?
to have you.
Thank you. Because you know what? When I saw the movie, I definitely said I needed to get the cast on. And then a couple of weeks ago, I got a DM in my inbox, and Bobby was like, "Yo, you got to bring the cast on." I said, "Say less." So thank you so much, Bobby, for putting that bug back in my ear. But before we really get into the movie, one thing that I always like to ask all of the guests that come on is, how did each and every one of you get into the film business? And anyone can start.
Well, since everybody's not jumping at once, Bobby, why don't you start?
well, this is not about me because I already did the podcast with Floyd, so this is about those actors. So they need
Okay,
to
well, you
start.
know what? Then Latarsha, can we have you start?
Latarsha.
Because you have such an extensive resume.
Yes.
So is it into the business or into the art?
Whichever feels best for you.
Yeah.
So for me, I was studying at Georgetown and I'm studying English, and I took a Shakespearean drama class. And I had been I danced, but I had never theater. I was like, what? Acting? What is that? I loved it and always watched it and really grew up just loving what I saw. And I fell in love with it in that Shakespearean drama class with Professor Reno. And then I dabbled and took a class while I was there at Georgetown and with Professor Sarah Marshall, and just opened up my eyes. But I didn't know that it was something I could do for a living. And that's where it started. And then that journey, that was my freshman year. And then by senior year, I started to wonder and question as I was preparing to go to law school, and then took the leap of faith and jumped in. A friend of mine made a recommendation about a teacher in New York, where I was from, where I was heading back to, and I started there.
Nice. Liyah?
Yes. So I would say the curiosity for like film, television, entertainment definitely started when I was in high school, just taking like high school theater and whatnot. Kind of fell in love with it. It was kind of unexpected and whatnot because dance was my first love, always has been. And from there, I transitioned into college, and I was literally just minding my business in a grocery store in a Walmart, doing some shopping, and I met an agent that happened to just been like shopping around, and he just looked at me. He was like, I don't know who you are, but like you're a star. I just had a curiosity. Would you ever like consider getting into acting? Do you do any form of modeling, things of that nature? And I'm like, I did some theater, like, why not? I'd love to like learn a little bit more about it. So I started off doing like, your background, like your extra roles, being on sets, fell in love with like watching the actors work and whatnot. I was focused on getting my marketing degree at the time, and I told myself, like, as soon as I graduate, I'm gonna lock in, get into classes and whatnot. Did that, learned the business of acting through coaching with like various different coaches and whatnot, and then landed my first couple roles, and now we're just like keeping the ball rolling for the most part. So that's kind of how I delved into it.
Very nice.
Mhm.
Jibre?
Yeah, so for myself, I actually didn't catch the acting bug until after I graduated college. So I was kind of like a late bloomer, I would say. I was 22 when I graduated. That's when I started acting. Because I actually went to school to be a doctor. I have a BS degree in biology. My plan was to go to med school, become a radiologist, take that route. Things didn't work out. God had other plans for me. And my mom actually introduced me to acting the summer I graduated. That's just something to do. She just was like, here, it's a casting call. It's something to do. Get out the house, go do something. And I was just like, you know how it is. Sometimes your mom sends you stuff. You're like, all right, mom, sure, fine, I'll do it. So I kind of did it, and then long story short, I kind of just fell in love with it. And then I just kind of ran with it because after the doctor stuff didn't work out, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. So the fact that, once acting came up, I had nothing else going and I liked it and it was fun. So I was like, yeah, like I liked it. Whatever this is, I like it and I want to keep doing it. So, 10 years later, here I am, so I'm just having fun.
Got it. So all of you had initial interests outside of acting and then came into the acting space. That pivot can be scary because
I
acting
think
is so.
we lost Okema.
No,
there she
I'm
is.
here. I'm
There
like,
she is.
I'm here. I heard and saw y'all the whole time, so that's weird. Okay. I was saying that, you all had a initial interest and then came into the acting space, and that pivot can be scary because acting is so not guaranteed, right? Like you do all of these auditions, and for every 50 auditions you may book, if you're on that high rung, maybe you'll book 10, and that's like a big ratio, right? That's being pretty generous. So tell me a little bit for our viewers that, may want to pivot, whether it's into acting or something else in their space, how you dealt with going from what you were sure about to this new thing. Because I think we don't talk about that a lot. Whomever.
I'll take it. I mean, for me, I feel like my route was so peculiar. I kind of use this journey as a way to inspire. Like, I want to kind of get to a platform to where I can inspire the world and inspire people like myself that kind of hit a crossroads in their life. And, because I'm living proof, I literally thought I literally have pictures when I was like 3-4 years old in scrubs and a headpiece, like in a stethoscope around my neck. Like, so for my whole life, for 20 years, I was like, well, this is going to be my life. So, other people who might feel that way, if it doesn't work out, it's all right. Like you could still find newfound passions, as your life progresses and as you get older along your life journey. You know what I mean? So I want people to see my route and see how it worked for me. And now, like, I can't imagine doing anything else with my life, literally. Like, I'm literally living my dream each and every day. So, I just want people to kind of see my story and be inspired and know that, it can happen and it can be better than you ever imagined. So
I would say for me, college is a place of exploration. We're going to learn, but it's not as if we're just charting a career path there. Hopefully you're there to learn and expand who you are. And that's what happened to me. I found something while I was there, but I also continued to be on the path of academia. I came out with an English and psychology degree, and I'm a behaviorist as an actor, and I still carry that with me. And I also use it with other areas that I'm in. I also am an educator. So for me, it was scary. You're 20 something and you're telling your parents, oh, you're not going to go to law school anymore. You're not going to be a lawyer, but this was your path. And, Jibre made a really good point. Crossroads. We're always at a crossroads. I'm at a crossroads now, right? I feel like we're always at a crossroads. I am at a crossroads. And yeah, it's just, you learn along at each crossroad how to continue to expand. And hopefully that will allow me to continue to chart and explore and desire and hope for more. But It's not necessarily easy, but it wasn't impossible. And it just learning to follow my heart and having faith. And that's really what guided me through the crossroad.
Amen to the faith aspect for sure. For me, I would kind of say my case is a little bit different because when I went to school for marketing, I never wanted to go like to become, the type of person that graduates, climbs the corporate ladder, for a big Fortune 500 company and whatnot. I knew I wanted to be like in the entertainment space, but potentially maybe PR. I was still trying to explore what I wanted that to look like post grad. But it kind of just blended in, like when the acting bug did bite me and whatnot. And now I just kind of use those marketing skills and the degree to kind of just cater towards the influencing that I do with social media and content creation. So, those spaces kind of intertwine and bleed together. It definitely helps like being an artist and then also knowing how to like market yourself in like other ways and whatnot. And I do help other people or other talent, whether like they're singers, dancers, actresses, whatever part of entertainment that they kind of focus in on, to show them that there is a way that you can like grow an audience, that you can influence, that you can build a community, and that are just loyal to you and support whatever it is that you do. So I do like teach like little miniature courses and whatnot on that. So yeah, kind of just like worked all out in a sense.
It's interesting. But Latarsha and Jibre, I wanted to ask the two of you a question because I did a little research. And Latarsha, I saw that back in 2012, you were about to leave the business. And then you got the role for on the Hunger Games. And Jibre, you talked about being in the business for 10 years, but there were 200 no's before there was one yes. So with that, how did you guys both navigate the fact that, as Okema said, this is an extremely hard business, but at the lowest point, the biggest triumph happened. So how did the both of you navigate that?
I would say for me, and real talk, my community, my friends, and the constant reminder that things always work out. There was always, there are these reminders, and it really comes down to faith and listening to what is coming to you, what is going on, and sometimes just slowing down. And that particular moment, a very good friend of mine who's also an actress who inspired me, and she also is now an author and also continuing the journey as well. And we had a lunch, and we sat down. We were just honest about what was coming up for us, and just reaching out to one another, and sometimes realizing that you can do that, and to get it off your heart, and to share it, and to not just hold on to it, and being willing, I think, to also to let go of steering and controlling what it is. So, constant reminder. Yeah.
Mr. Hordges.
Yeah, for myself, like Latarsha was saying, faith. I think number one is faith. Like, you have to believe that it's going to happen. Even if you low key don't think it's going to happen, you know what I mean? Like, you got to know it's going to happen, because at times in this business, sometimes it's like, like it can be some dry spells, and that's a real thing, but if you have faith and it's going to happen, and also having a vision, I feel like a lot of what I'm kind of like doing today was a part of my vision, and I say that humbly speaking, just because it's a lot of things that I saw for myself. And so it's like, if you see it, you can make it happen with faith, hard work, determination, things of that nature. But I saw it, you know what I mean? So it took 10 years. You never know how long it's going to take. In this industry, your life can change overnight. It could take 1 year, it could take 10, it could take 20, 30, you never know. So you just got to keep having faith, keep going hard, continue to stay the course. And sometimes you got to batten down the hatches. And when you have these dry spells, you got to keep going. When you hear those 200 no's, you got to keep going, because that one yes can be gratifying and that one yes can change your life. So, you know, things of that nature. Those are the things that kind of kept me down at my lowest point.
What about you, Liyah?
I definitely would attribute it to faith as well, like just affirming myself and who I know God made me to be when it comes to the entertainment space, because you do deal with a lot of rejection, right? Kind of like 80% of the time for like most of the auditions that you get and whatnot. But definitely like having the right people situated around me to, you know, pour seeds and like, I guess, water the seeds that are planted, and, you know, just reaffirming yourself and who God made you to be. Reminding yourself of the W's that you do have, that, you know, seemingly sometimes we may put it in our mind that it seems small, but when we think about ourselves a year from before, 2 years before, 3 years before, we were literally dreaming of whatever it is that we're achieving right now, right? So just reminding yourself of that, like all the W's that God granted, the doors that he gave you access to, puts, like, you know, reactivates that faith and whatnot to, you know, just keep going, because it's a numbers game. You got to keep doing it, keep honing in on your craft, and again, like Jibre said, like one day the big door will open. So
That's it. You know, it's so funny. I'm thinking Floyd, sorry to jump in, but I was like, oh,
no,
wait,
please.
that was 2012 I had that
Mhm.
moment. You
Yes.
forget those because it's not the last time that I had that moment, right? That's so fascinating and to reflect.
Yeah.
And one thing I would just say, to breathe. And what Liyah was saying, always stay in craft. Always stay continuing to do you and live a life. Because for me, my life is the clay of my art. I was taught that. And so you continue to live a life. And this is really good reminders for me, because when we talk about Crossroads, so yeah, I just wanted to add that.
I love that. My art is the clay of my life. My life is the clay of my art, or my life is the clay of my art.
I just wrote that down, girl.
Art imitates life so much, but as actors, it's so important that we hold on to the things that we love, that we hate, anything that makes us feel, because you never know when you can like refer to that or tap into that for a character randomly. Because you, as actors, you can play anybody. You know what I mean? You can be asked to play anybody. But Bobby, let me ask you, as the director of Sugar Mama and as a director in general, talk to me a little bit about how you engage and relate to your actors when you're working. Because some directors consider themselves as an actor's director. Some directors are more technical directors and about the visual spectacle. Talk to me a little bit about how you relate to your actors when you're working as a director.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
can hear me? Okay, cool. I just had to just add on in terms of, because everything you're asking me, Okema, it relates to what all three of you guys just said. Is I remember each and every one of you having conversations that were about vision, about what's next. How it's about how do I explain it? So let's say with Jibre, right? With Jibre, it's where do you see yourself? Like, these are the conversations I had. Besides just rehearsing a scene, I would have a conversation with Jibre about where do you see yourself, Jibre? What's next for you? Where do you want to be? Well, whatever that is, let's do that now with intention in this role, so that you will get to that next level, right? Right. So, and with Liyah, same thing. It's like, hey, whatever it is that we need to experience now to be better for the next thing, that's what we gonna do. We gonna be excellent now, right? So that you are ready for the bigger things. Like, and then with Latarsha, it's like, first of all, Latarsha, it's just a blessing to work with you. But it's like, this is you number one on the cast sheet, and to me that was special. And I was like, we're gonna make this the best thing that we can do. So I think, yes, I think I'm an actor's director for sure, but I think I'm just a person that relates to who I'm working with, because for me, it's very collaborative, but it's also just about being a person, a human relationships with each other. That's how we emote with each other. We're emoting together, you know? So we're trying to find the character. Like Latarsha, you were in character the whole time. You were training so hard, and I respect that so much. You were just always in there. finding your intention or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure you have a special word for it as an actress, but whatever it is, you were always in there, and you couldn't do a scene unless you knew what you want, what you knew what the character needed or wanted. Remember? I remember that very well. And I think that's the beauty of directing and filmmaking and collaborating. But ultimately, I'll just say this. I'm just going to bring it all together in terms of look what we did, right? Look at the number. Who said numbers don't lie? Liyah? Numbers don't lie.
They
Look
They
what
don't.
we
don't.
did. Look what we did with this one film with all of y'all amazing people that people may not have known, but then now they do know. Millions of people have seen you and they know you. And the numbers don't lie. They watched the movie. And to be competing with Netflix and Max on the same list for 2 weeks straight, that's
Crazy,
not
but
that's
crazy beautiful.
Yeah.
Right, like
yes.
crazy, and it also goes to one, congratulations. When I posted and reposted that we were doing this, literally I had people hit both my page and my DMs. Yo, I just watched it. Yo, I watched that. I saw that last week, or you know what I mean. And people were so excited that we were going to talk to you guys. I was excited to talk to you guys because one, Tubi's great. Tubi is great, but not everything is great on Tubi. Right, so like that's reality. I mean, that's reality.
It is what it is. Yeah.
We all know that this is true. This is one of those great things on Tubi that is great, right? And so to have the numbers and hit the numbers that you all did, it also speaks to, we're right now in the industry dealing with the result of oversaturation and in terms of streaming services. We don't have the delineation that we should, so that it's not oversaturated, so that we don't have to strike and all these things that take jobs away from us, along with the looming threat of AI, blah, blah, blah. But it shows that when a Tubi film can best a Netflix run for a week, wild, but also makes sense because nothing in our industry is standard anymore, right? Like sometimes, I mean, in this present world, up is down, child. But what you guys did, from Bobby's direction to the production value to the phenomenal acting to the incredible story. Like I said, I will say this forever. The plot twist twisted my plot. I was not ready. And I'm not going to give it away. But I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It was giving Desperate Housewives when Sean was in the basement. It was giving that. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But so taking something that's so an idea, a concept like a sugar mama, a sugar daddy, a sugar baby, and doing something different with it. We always complain about how the industry regurgitates tales. And so to take something that we know and associate with X and make it E is wonderful, So talk to us a little bit about making the film. Because watching it, there's so much tension that's built. And like, I'm a huge Hitchcock fan, and I study his work to see how he builds tension with both audio, acting, and lighting, and shadows, and all the things. And like, Latarsha, every time your character got up and did something, and then I saw some shadow, I was like, wait a minute. Because baby, you was popping up like Mr. Deeds. Like, so talk to me about making the film and how we see the end result, but making it, you have to, as an actor, find that tension for yourself, because it's not what we see when you're making it. So I love to get actors' perspective on genre, because it's so different from making it to seeing it.
Right. This now is my third thriller. And so I never watched thrillers before. And then when I did my first thriller, I was like, oh, this is interesting, especially in the filming. You're like, wait, you want me to do what? I'm supposed to see a dead what? And then just the lights? Trust us. And I was like, oh.
Okay.
Latarsha, we wouldn't know that this is your third thriller because you killed it, just so you know.
For sure.
What did you say?
You killed it, Latarsha.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. So for me, I had a similar experience, I think, when I read the script. At first, I was like, Sugar Mama. I was like, what's this going to be about? And then I read the character breakdown. I was like, oh, interesting. She did a TED Talk. She's, giving a lecture. And then I get to it, and first I was like, "Oh, sugar mamas," and then the split happened. And I was like, "Absolutely, yes, yes, I am interested in being a part of it. I don't know how they're gonna make it. I don't know how to do it." And I do the work for the character and the analysis and all of that, and then I show up to what Bobby and the production, like what they did, all of it, and then meeting the other actors. It was, and every crew member, right? We don't know what it's going to look like. I can just trust my instrument and my approach to finding the through line, or trying to find the through line of truth, and be grounded in that. And that's all I can do, right? So the final product that's going to be what Bobby sees, and because when we showed up to test for hair, makeup, and everything, I could tell. See how Bobby is right now? You could just see him watching and looking and taking things in. And I knew I was going to be safe in his hands, right? Those first moments of like, oh, we're going to do this together. Oh, wait, I'm going to trust my instrument with you, and you're going to trust me. And it was like, okay, and then, and so it's interesting.
Yeah, what really struck me was the quality of the acting, but the quality of the story. And like you said, when you first get the script and you see Sugar Mama, and then you see it's going to be a Tubi movie, your mind immediately goes to, I hate to say it, the stereotypical Tubi movie with gratuitous body parts and things like that. So then when you do a deep dive in the script and you see that she's an accomplished businesswoman, the fact that you have, the other two characters, they're working their way through college. So it's not a dumbed down movie. So, my question to, Jibre and Liyah, when you guys first got the script and you looked at the characters, what were your first thoughts? And furthermore, how did you guys actually get the script? Did you have to audition? Did it go through your agents? How did that work out?
I guess I can start it off. So for me, like when I first got the script, same, general, I guess, like perspective that most people would have. I'm like, what is this? I did get it through an agent and whatnot. But as I read, like I began to fall in love with it because, like I said, it's or like you said, it's not like your stereotypical, situation as it pertains to like sugar mamas, daddies, babies, things of that nature. I was able to find bits of myself, or like my younger self, like in Gia's character, like her being studious, like she tutored for a living. That young college student that was just thriving, trying to find her way and find her path in life and whatnot. But then also like just reading it from the standpoint, like, okay, let me not judge her, let's justify her, right? Why does she do? Why does she feel the way that she feel and whatnot? I feel like that's what really created the space for me to, put myself and like fit into the role and make it real, right? Because I always say, like, when it comes to the acting aspect, it's never like you intentionally trying to act. It's, finding ways to connect with the character, that either line up with yourself, your experiences, and, genuinely feeling justified in that moment. So yeah, that's what did it for me. But how I got the role, it was through my agent. He sent it in my direction because it's crazy. I just had a conversation with him like a few months prior, telling him like, okay, maybe let's go for, more of like the college student type of roles, or like just younger and whatnot. Cause I have a very small frame and I was finding, I'm like the auditions of like my actual age bracket. I'm like, I feel like maybe they think that I appear a lot younger than I am. So I'm like, let's try to be more strategic and just kind of like focus in on that. And, he listened, and when this finally got on my table, got the audition, did the work, and yeah, everything was great from there.
Yeah, I love that because I know, as actors, especially actors of color, especially Black actors, we never really look our age, right? Like we never really cast in our actual age bracket, or hardly ever. So I love that you took the chance and said, let's go younger. And now full supporting role in a big feature. I love it.
Love it.
Jibre.
Jibre or Jibre? Because I don't like that people names.
It's a long E, Jabr.
Jabri. Okay, like Okema. Got it.
Yeah. So for me, actually, when I got this audition, I was actually in the middle of filming another movie. So, I was able to just kind of read the breakdown in the moment. And the breakdown was good. I like the character because the film that I was currently filming, I was playing like head of security. I was playing older. I had a full beard like I do now. So I was like, okay, this one I get to play a college kid, completely different. Like I have a girlfriend and we're like struggling. We're trying to make it. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm into these sugar mamas who are like, providing financially. So it was just like a complete opposite switch of what I was just doing. And, as actors, we love to have range. So, once I got it, I was like, yeah, like I definitely want to, jump into this right after what I'm doing now. So, I was grateful for that role. But I kind of want to touch on the people. I feel like one of the most important things when filming something is the relationships that you make on set and the people that you're around. I feel like when you have a great relationship with the people that you're around, they become family, and it allows you to be comfortable. It allows you to live truthfully, and all of that reflects in your acting. The relationship that you make, and how y'all talk and banter offset or just when the cameras aren't rolling is going to affect your on screen presence. So and I feel like number one, I want to give Bobby his flowers because he's definitely like my favorite director that I've ever had, and I am truly saying that. I feel like he's pushed me in ways that I hadn't been pushed before. I feel like Bobby is very raw. He's very real. He's gonna tell it to you how it is. It was plenty of times we did a take. He'll call me over and say, "Yeah, I don't believe it." Like, nah, I don't believe it. Like, you see how Latarsha is, and Latarsha, I'm gonna give you your flowers. He was like, you see how Latarsha is, you got to meet her here, and I'll be like, heard you, and I'll go out there and I'll do it. And he'll be like, that's the one. So he'll tell it. And there's other directors that might be like, yeah, that was good. Like, that was cool. He was like, nah. So, he definitely pushed me in ways that I haven't been pushed. So, shout out to Bobby and then Latarsha. It's an honor to be able to be alongside and across from her because she's a strong actress, as y'all seen in the movie. Like, so to for the number one and number two to have to be strong and have good chemistry, that's what really is major in the film. You got to have that chemistry, at the top, and it just reflects from the top down, and then having Liyah as somebody who played my partner, Gia and Mike being in that relationship, to have a partner and to have like intimate moments with somebody, like for Liyah to be such a great actress and to be so cool as a person like that, that was great. And that's why, again, that reflected in the film because we had that relationship. So, I feel like having that family and being that comfortable with everybody, it and then when Bobby talks about the numbers it did, like all of that goes into that because those relationships, it just shines on screen because we really love each other for real. So yeah, I just want to give everybody their flowers. So yeah.
Wow, you made a very interesting point when you said that. Bobby said, I don't believe that. And I think that is so important because it's make believe, but you have to make people believe to make believe. And when I watched you, Latarsha, on screen, the thing that kept coming to mind is she crazy or is she grieving?
Both.
Because
both of them.
But my question is, what was the major thing, the grief or the fact that the grief caused you to possibly, well, if you saw the movie, that you kind of lost touch with reality, although you kept it together extremely well. And I think people may have missed that part of it because of some of the things that you did in the film. I think some people may have missed the grief part. Talk the fact that well, I can't really say because I want people to see the film, but can you talk about that, the balance of the possible grief and the thing that the loss of a child may have cost you mentally?
Yes. Hold on, I'm writing a note to myself because answers fly in and then I lose them. So first, I do want to share because it's important, I think, sometimes to remind ourselves because I did say I was at Crossroads and I feel like, this is this my last film, right? Or is this sometimes? But that project actually came in as an offer to me. And it's in those quiet moments sometimes when you're at a crossroads, because I didn't know what was next. And when this showed up as an offer, and I was like, huh. And as an offer as the number one, and to be doing this for 20 something years as a SAG AFTRA card carrying member, it was really special. And it was really special to do it with everyone I got to do it with. Because what we had with that crew, with the creative team, every bit of it, such a blessing. And it was a responsibility that I didn't know what it was to be a number one. And I've worked with some great number ones, but then to take on the ownership responsibility. Anyway, I just wanted to share because that was a wonderful offer. And when I talked to Ashley Jones, who was the producer, and she talked about how she came to it, I was like, because sometimes I'll say, oh, wow. Oh, you know my work? Because that's just something I do. I'm like, oh, you know my work, which was really honor, blessing. So was she grieving? Great question. Something for me, the way I was trained and continue to work on is to live truthfully in the imaginary circumstances. So that life resonates. And she absolutely is grieving, right? But how does she navigate and continue her life? Right? How do you do your laundry? How do you go for coffee when you're still grieving? Because we do more than one thing at a time. And I think it was the grief that was driving her. It also was the thing that allowed her to flourish, right? She had to flourish through it because she had to be able to support what she was trying to do, is to take care of her child. And also she wasn't able to let go. You know, if she had maybe been able to let go, she may have not ended where she did, right? Mm-hmm. But because of the other givens that were intertwined that are revealed, we take this journey, which was a fun journey. Yeah.
I love that. I think that a lot of people let me not say a lot. Some actors don't grasp the need for nuance. So like, yes, she was a little off, but it was a byproduct of a thing, right? Versus, because people like we as actors know, they're like, oh, the character's angry, but anger is a secondary emotion. So the only way your anger is going to be believable to the audience is if you get the root of that, which is the primary thing that made her angry. Right. So like she was grieving, which was her foundational thing. And then it kind of broke her psyche. And you each had a lot of nuance in your performances. Latarsha, of course, yours was so like 1 minute you're a tech mogul schmoozing around a room. The next minute you're trying to tuck this grown man in the bed.
Can I just add something to that one grieving part? Is that it was really, really, she was guided by love. You know, it's interesting because hair and makeup we were talking about, and I was like, she really, at the end of the day, is a woman who loves her child, and she's taking these extreme measures. And what would you do, right? And then it's a story, it's a fantasy, it's this something extreme. But you really, I mean, we grieve because we love, right? Right.
It's love. Grief. I mean, they say that grief is love with nowhere to go, and I feel like your detachment from reality gave you a new home for that grief, which was Jabre's character, just modified to what it wasn't supposed to be.
There's so much we can't say because we want people to see it.
You're like one of the people that has unfortunately not seen it yet, but I know that this conversation will incite you to go see it if you have not. But in terms of nuance, even with Gia, like Gia's performance to me was nuanced, and it had to be, right? Like Gia's like, I'm watching my man do this with this lady, and at first I'm jealous because I'm like, I want his time, and who's this old lady with all this money that can potentially...
Latarsha, like, I ain't old.
But what I'm saying is that's how she used to pitch it.
Right.
Well, first of all, baby, Latarsha, I'm quite sure we are in the same age bracket. Oh no, believe you, again, the black don't crack. We are.
Embrace it.
Right. I am 46 and proud of it. It's okay. But no, in Gia's mind, and she would induce this, right? Like who is this lady? Like first it goes from a little bit of envy and jealousy to then concern, no, to anger, then concern, then like all the things. So like the nuances that you offered were beautiful. Jabri, the way you had to kind of juggle, you know, his love for his girl, but the need for what this is doing. This is for us. But then some of it was for him. It was, you all gave such tender performances in your lane of who your characters were. And that nuance is what kept me watching. Because when stuff is one note, it's like, okay. But I never knew which Gia was coming in what scene because of what was happening, right? I never knew which version of your character, Latarsha, we would get because she was so many things. And then I also love the interplay of tech because we don't often get to portray tech giants, you know, and I love that was even something that was like pushed into the space because we don't see that, especially in a lot of urban film. We don't get to be the tech giants. We don't get to be the smart ones, you know, and I love that she wasn't here for him to just be a physical boy toy. It was all of this extra nuanced stuff you don't expect. And so just congratulations to all of you, and Bobby, to you for helming their performances. It was good, child.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you just said something really interesting about the boy toy, because you know what, that would have been so easy.
Well, that's always what we
fruit. That is the low-hanging fruit. And you know, that was, you know, kind of to the question of when you guys first got the script and saw the title. That looks like this is going to be some low-hanging fruit. But brother Jibre,
baby,
there were some things in the movie, and I'm sitting there and I'm asking now, come on, brother. I know that the car looks nice. The car was popping. But bruh, I'm saying to myself, bruh, I'm like, come on now. The car looked nice, but there was a big proverbial but. Don't you see what's happening, player?
But that's why I said that he was for them, but he was for him when he needed to be for him.
So as you're reading the script and you're seeing the way that your character is playing this thing out, what was going through your mind when you saw some of the things that your character actually had to do?
It was a lot. It was intense. I'm reading it like, wow, Mike is extremely naive. You know what I mean? Like he's just not getting it. But it's like at the same time, he needed to provide. He was trying to look out for him and his girl Gia. And she put it out on a platter. I mean, mansion, the car, the paying extra just to stay the night. You know what I mean? But then you had the downside, like being tucked into bed. Being fed, having the polar bear pajamas, being locked in the room, all of those things. So it was just kind of like, it was two extremes. It was way over here and it was way over there. So I think Mike was just conflicted. You know what I mean? That's a situation that's like a dime a dozen. Just doesn't happen. So he was just very conflicted. But you know, to play it and to portray it was amazing. And it was, you know, it stretched my range as an actor. And then, to see the reviews and the comments, you know, of course, people are like, oh my gosh, like exactly what you said. Like, what are you thinking? Mike is just so slow. Like any emotion, it brings joy to my heart, because as actors and actresses, our job is to evoke emotion out of the audience, whatever that is, whether they're going to love us, they're going to hate us, they're going to be sad, mad at us, whatever it is. So if we can evoke that emotion, and I made people feel that way, my job is complete. So, you know, it was fun.
Yeah. Because I was talking to the TV.
Yeah.
I was talking to the television.
Can I add something? So
please.
Of course.
I was watching it. I don't usually do screenings with my friends, but I did some screening because for us in LA, we were in the midst of dealing with the fires, and our movie was the first gathering of my friends. We had a couple of friends who lost their homes, but this was where we came together. And the night we had to put the subtitles on. It was a thing. But I will tell you this, Jibre. So the other day, one of my boys from college, he has 2 teenage kids. He has one son. His son is a freshman in college. And he was in D.C. because they're from D.C. And we'll probably talk about your project later. He was with his mom and his sister. And they called me and they're like, Latarsha, are you crazy? Because my friend's mother, she was like, are you in therapy? Because we've seen you before play these roles that are. And then, but my friend, he was like, boy, I need to call my son and check on him to make sure
That's not
he
happening.
doesn't get a
He's not-
girlfriend like or a sugar. And I was like, and so that was one of those things I was like, look at your brain making people.
I know, right? I'm living people's lives, you know, so it's funny.
You know, it's interesting. I actually got like, I guess you could call it like fan mail, like DMs and whatnot from people as well that have like kids that are in college and whatnot. And they were just like, yo, like I have a daughter. Gia definitely taught me a lesson, this and that. I definitely want to like check in on my kids as well. You know, I think that kind of ties into like the nuances and the layers that we were talking about before. Because with Gia, she definitely, you know, loves Mike, you know, is goal oriented, definitely wants to strive to be the best. But then sometimes, you know, that need takes over, right? They didn't have the finances. So I would imagine like my backstory for her just being like financial struggles or maybe coming from like a lower income family, you know, things of that nature. The need will always take over the other parts of the Maslow hierarchy of needs triangle, right? And sometimes even when you do know better, like and not being naive, like the need will take over and whatnot. So I found it interesting. Like they definitely learned some lessons from like a few of our characters. Like, so it was pretty dope to see.
You know, and what's interesting, you know, although it was a film, you had parents calling you. Now, I have two grown daughters. They both went to college. One went to Lincoln University. The other one went to Temple University. But, you know, they were gone. And as a parent, the one thing that you want your children to be is safe. And although they're adults, 18, you're considered an adult, they're still kids. So it gets into, are they making good decisions while I'm not there? And a lot of times, you know, when I'm sure when parents, they were watching this film, they're like, oh, well, you know what? I thought such and such was okay, but you know what? Maybe I need to pick up the phone and make a phone call and check, because college is difficult. And, you know, having money in college is extremely difficult because me and my wife would always get them phone calls like, put some more money in the bank. So you can get caught up really quickly in someone making a suggestion or giving you an offer if they can see that there's a little bit of desperation because you need to pay tuition, you need to get those books, you know, your meal card just ran out of money, you know, hey, I can help you out, you know. So it's kind of interesting that although Sugar Mama was the type of film that it was, it made a lot of parents sit up and say, hey, you know what, maybe I need to check in on my kids just to make sure that everything's okay. Do you need something? If so, let me know. Don't be out there asking nobody for no money. And if somebody take you to their house and have a BMW in the driveway, you need to call me up so I can come and get you.
No, I think that's great. And that's the thing, you know, we make art, you make art and you want it to be influential, like across the board. Not just it's like you said, Latarsha, you know, LA had just been through so much trauma. And so this was a gathering for friends and a chance to like just enjoy time. And oh, I lost you, Latarsha.
She's back.
Okay, there you go. No. You're I was like, wait, I'm losing her. Yeah, so it was a gathering for your friends to be entertained and like distracted, but it was also a chance for them to support you and to support your art and give you your flowers. And like, you know, Liyah, you were saying that people were like, oh, this is making me think, let me talk to my daughter, or like Jibre with your character, let me talk to my son, make sure that, because people also don't think about how men and male children get lured in by older women. And, you know, when you're growing up, especially in our communities, when an older lady is hollering at a boy, that's supposed to be this rite of passage into manhood and masculinity. And it's a thing. No, it's assault. It's even if it makes his little ego inflate and other things inflate, it's assault. Yes. And so watching, you know, having something that's so entertaining and was so good, but also it's starting all of these additional dialogues that we need in our community, especially as we're under such attack. We need every piece of, you know, intel and information for us, from seasoned saints to the babies. And so having things that are entertaining and beautiful like your film, but also that incite this dialogue that helps us be better and support and protect each other more is insanely awesome too. And so kudos to you guys for having something that is so entertaining, but also is helping save, you know, potentially save people in the community. Because we don't think about those byproducts either, right? Like those are the things that remind us that no matter how much they try to tell us who we are and who we aren't, and how much they want to take from us as artists and say, oh, you're being, no, I deserve this. Because guess what? Our art got you through 4 years of pandemic. Our art gets you through every breakup, every, you know, every loss, every grief moment. You play a song or you watch a movie or what have you. It's about worship and fellowship and gathering each other. So kudos on having something that is doing something so unexpected, but expected at the same time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's
Yeah.
all in the writing. I mean, it's in the writing, right?
Shout out to the writer. I know that big shout out to the writer. I know
Yeah, shout out to Briana Cole.
Yes.
Let me give a few shout outs to Briana
go for it, Bobby.
Cole.
And Ashley.
Ashley, our exec from Mar Vista, Jessica, who else?
Christian. Big shout out to Christian
and Roberta, our producer, and
Yeah.
Brett at Tubi. And this was an idea from Brett that works at Tubi. This was his brief that started it all. So it all started from that. So, you know, it came from good inception, and I'm glad we took care of it and took it home. So, but I'll say this one thing real quick. Shades of Gray. That's what you guys gave. You guys took characters, Latarsha, you especially, you took a character that could have just been a villain, but you shaded it with so much that it's hard to call her. You don't even know what to call her. Is she a villain? Is she a hero? We don't.
Right.
It depends on how you see it. I mean, we're living in that world right now, right? If you look at the craziness in the world, it's a lot of shades of gray. I think this film is the representation. So shouts to Briana for that too, for bringing that to life. But yeah, and you brought it to life as well. All of you guys brought something to life in the character. I mean, one thing I remember, again, Latarsha, it had to make sense to you. Every scene had to make sense to you to move on, right? And I love that because for me as a director, every scene also has to make sense in the larger scope of the film, right? It has to make sense because otherwise, what are we doing this for? You know, otherwise we're just mimicking what's the words on the page. No, we're telling a story, and we are, as you said, we're evoking emotion for an audience, which I think that this film definitely did. So
yeah. And you know, one thing that I loved about each of the characters, I love subtlety. You know, I don't like when it's so obvious, as you said earlier, Liyah, that you're acting. And when I took a class with Bill Duke, he said, if you're acting, there's a problem. And the thing that really struck me was, you know, the subtlety of the acting, because especially with your character, Latarsha, because it could have been one of those, I'm going to be so over the top that, you know, you only think it's one thing. But, you know, as has been said earlier, there were so many nuances to your characters and with all of the characters, because each and every one of you had to make decisions, you know, that you may not have agreed with, but you said, I have to make this decision, the decision that I'm going to take money from someone. Now I know it ain't, but I gotta walk that line, you know. Liyah, with your character. Now the rent is due, so I know what my man is doing is wrong, but I gotta walk that fine line. And Latarsha, with your character, listen, I have to do what I have to do because I want to save my son. Now, someone else may be hurt in the process, but for me, it's I need to save my son. And the way that you guys did it, you did it so beautifully, and it was so subtle that it wasn't like beating you over the head, you know, the way you watch some films. So how were you guys able to you know, to keep it to where it was, I guess you could say it was an even keel, where you weren't so over the top, but you were basically staying within the story, but giving us phenomenal performances?
I would say that's down to Bobby, because he's the helm, right? And he sees everything, and he's the one that's that has the whole, like, he has the creative, he has the lighting, the sound, and you just, at a certain point, that really comes down to the trusting the process and trusting who you're, like, I offered my instrument to Bobby in this process with Liyah and Jibre and all the people that it really came down to trust. I mean, and for me, that was highlighted so clearly when just the fight choreography for me, that really, when that was trust, right? Because that was scary for me. In the real talk of it, like the behind the scenes that we don't see. And so that's on Bobby. I do my work, and like Jabr said, he'll be like, nah, didn't believe it, or no, another take. Oh. And you just, we're gonna trust. And in that first opening shot in that kitchen, because we shot our first shot, I think, Bobby, my first time shooting, our first shot was in the kitchen doing all the dance stuff, right? And so that's out of sequence, but it was like, oh, we're gonna do this. He was like, and he was like, we'll do that. I was like, who is this? What? This fella. He's like, he came over and he was like, look, trust. I was like,
Ironically, that was one of my friends said that's actually one of his favorite scenes in the whole film. He said that was it. That scene,
that was
when
the
you
moment
just,
that decided.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it started your journey from there. You had to start from there. So that was an important scene, even though there's no dialogue. Our journey, yes, correct.
Our journey of
correct.
where we're, we're off to the races. After we got up that, like, so Floyd, that's a Bobby. Yeah, I'm putting it on Bobby.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like Bobby's direction, the whole film, like literally every bit of it, trusting it, understanding that it is justified, trusting his eyes and whatnot and what he sees. His redirects, especially, and even in the moments that he wasn't like redirecting, whereas he may have picked up like, okay, I see where you're going with this, but this is how it needs to look on camera. So maybe block it this way. Just having that discernment and that sharp eye is really amazing. And then also, I guess, like foundationally from an acting standpoint, kind of pivoting back to like what I said earlier with like justifying, the character and whatnot. It's more than just kind of like a thought that you just put in your mind, like, okay, I'm just going to believe that this is okay. Like we consistently have to ask ourselves why when we're reading the script. So a bunch of just different why questions, like how does she feel about what the character is saying and why? You know what I mean? Or what happened like right before this? She's showing up, in this emotion in the scene, but why? You know what I mean? And really just sinking into that, believing that, connecting like a past experience from that. I think that's what kind of helped with the subtleties as well, because they naturally come. We don't think about facials and like all of that. And here I'm going to wink here at this time of the, second, or it's not like that. It'll naturally flow and come out like as you authentically connect to like the words and the script and whatnot. So they're just like natural reactions that we don't humanly think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Latarsha. Go ahead, Latarsha.
There's one, and because it's the linking of really how to carry this. Because when I got this script, it was one of those things as I was preparing about to get on the plane. I was like, let me look and see how many scenes I'm in, and then I was like,
all of them.
Okay,
Damn, yeah.
let me see how many scenes I'm not in. But I will tell you this, Bobby, our script coordinator, flowers must be given.
Yeah, shout out to Nyeon, our script coordinator. She's amazing. She's the best. Yes, we all love her.
Sure that we were carrying and matching and making sure the storyline was right. So that's also, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say, I feel like honestly, we didn't have to do too much. I feel like everything was so in line with this project that all we had to do was just bring our craft to the table and everything just flowed naturally. It starts with the writer. I feel like the writing, the project was so beautifully written that, again, we didn't have to do too much. Like it was there. Like it was there. And then you look at the DP and Christian. I did a previous project with Christian as a DP, so I trusted him. He's one of the best to do it, so I knew we had him. I've heard great things about Bobby. He got so many Emmys, I lost count. So, when we got somebody like that at the helm, it's crazy, and you have Latarsha. I mean, we know her work. She's amazing, so you got her acts as the number one. And you got Liyah. She's a social media superstar. She's famous. You know what I mean? So you got her in the project. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm not a bad actor myself. You know what I mean? So when we put all those pieces together, it's no
Look,
like.
Jibre, you on a major soap opera right now.
Bruh.
Come
Yeah,
on.
blow up.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, Yanni Yates and all that stuff. Officer.
Nah,
Stop it, Jibre.
but yeah, you know what I mean. So when you put all those things together, all we have to do is just bring our craft, and then everything is just gonna naturally flow. So
For sure. No, I mean, I think that you guys pulled something amazing off, and you didn't pull it off, you did it, because there's a difference. So you did something amazing. Bobby, congratulations for another one in the can as a, awesome director. To you all as a cast, congratulations. I know we're getting to time, so I want to ask Floyd, because Floyd always has like a page length of questions that we haven't gotten to. But that's fine, because that's why I love him. Because he is always is going to dig into the minutia of who you are. And 18 interviews ago, that is my Floyd. But before we get out of here, I do want you all to just let the audience know where and how they can find you and what we can see you in, or what is coming up for you, so that we can make sure that they're following you on your socials, that they're cheering and championing you for the next thing, and that we can follow your journey here. Because I have a feeling that this one will hit a few award spaces. So we want to make sure we're following, so that we can cheer you on and be like, we had you on our show because we knew what it was.
That's right.
So we can start with Bobby.
Well, I'll just say real quick, because I got to get out of here to get on another call real quick. But I'm creating. I'm still doing directing for hire, but this year for me, it's about being a creator. It's about taking control and building projects, working with writers, other directors, getting new voices out there. It's part of my bigger vision. So that's what I'm doing this year, is really just shifting and doing things for culture, shifting culture, creating diverse content for the air. I'm quadrupling down on diversity. So that's what I'm doing. So I'll have some announcements soon. I'll let you guys know. So, but anyway, I got to run, but it's wonderful to see you
Bobby,
guys.
always good
I
seeing you,
love,
brother.
Bye, Bobby.
yes, same here.
Thank
You
you.
guys are all my family, all of you. So I really love you guys, truly.
love
Okay.
you, Bobby. Take it easy,
Yes,
bro.
love you too.
Beautiful.
Good to see you, man.
Okay, talk to you soon. Okay.
Now, I just have one question for you guys before you get to where everyone can find you. Afrophobia post the Crown Egg docuseries asked this question early in the podcast, and he, I'm not sure if it's a he or a she, so I say they wanted me to ask. Let me see. How different is looking at the pilot sides from looking at the actual episode scripts after picked up? And which one are you more excited about? Let me repeat that question so you guys can think about it. It says, how different is looking at the pilot sides from looking at the actual episode scripts after being picked up, and which makes you more excited?
Is he talking to Jabri or to all the actors, as they are actors that have been on television as well?
He said to the whoever. I'm not sure if it's a male or female.
He or she, I'm sorry, they.
They.
And then people wonder why they can't be a word. But anyway, go ahead.
To the panel. It says to the panel.
So Jabri, well, we know that Beyond the Gates. Did you get the pilot script for Beyond the Gates?
Not so. I mean, I just auditioned for it and booked it, and then we just started from the ground.
Right.
So, yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was
Okay, Liyah, have you ever gotten a pilot script and then gotten the series script, or gone to series on a pilot that was like that you were a part of from the beginning?
Yeah, so I feel like for me, I don't know, like the audition scripts kind of are pretty synonymous from my experience, like with the scene. It may like be slightly different wording. They may change like the character's name, but I mean, they give you enough to like understand what's going on in the scene. So in my experience, I haven't, experienced like a crazy different shift or like seen a difference and whatnot. If anything, you get to expound upon the scene a bit more, like understanding what precluded and then concluded after the scene and whatnot. You have like a bit more context to work off of. So that's what makes the difference for me. But like the actual writing in itself, not so much.
Copy.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. For me, so I've had a couple pilots that I've gone into series with. Pretty much to standard what it looked like. The character given may have changed. I will say this. being Mary Jane was called single black female. And I was like, what is this?
Wow.
But it changed. I will say this.
Yes, that was one of my favorite scenes on television ever by a Black woman. That scene where you're like, so what do you want me to do with this? You want best? That's how you knew a Black woman wrote that.
And then there was a film for Hulu Blumhouse. There was a thriller. And when we walked into the table read with the whole network and everyone, the director, Nacho Vigilando, who was from Spain, walked in. He had the script in his hand, and he was like, so yeah, I'm rewriting this. And we're like, okay. And it was great because he's an actor who also is actor's director. But anyway, but for the most part, I would agree with him. It's pretty seamless.
Yeah, I would say I feel like that question can kind of be applied to like kind of like the audition process, right? Because I mean, like even if you have a script for a pilot and you could shoot the pilot, I mean that's essentially still an audition because it has to get picked up and has to get greenlit to go to series. So I mean, I could just take it from my experience as an actor, just getting an audition. It's like it's not really yours yet, so it's like you have to like. It's like the work you put into it is like, it's not mine. Yeah, I want it to be mine, but it's not mine. So that's like one perspective. And like when you do it, you kind of just got to let it go. You can't really think about it mentally because you don't want it to affect you emotionally if it doesn't go your way. But when you book the role and get those scripts, now that it's yours, it's like our job as actors is to audition. Like filming is like, that's the fun part. Like, it's like once you book, you're having fun now. Like that's not hard. It's hard. It's like that's the audition. So it's so gratifying now once you actually get something to series and you're getting those scripts because it's like I'm already on the show. I have a character. Like let's go. Like let's play. Let's have fun. So I would say it's more gratifying once it actually gets greenlit because like now we're filming. So yeah.
Okay.
You can color it a little bit more now.
Yeah, it's yours. So you can make it yours. You can do what you want with it. I mean, of course, it got to be along with the director and the producer and the network, but like you can make it your own, and it's nothing more fun as an actor because we get to play. So,
got it. All right. Well, go ahead, Latarsha.
Yeah, for me, I would say enjoying the process throughout. I went in for a play the other day, and the idea that I got to play Olympias, who's the mother of Cleopatra, I didn't realize, was digging in. So it's different degrees of joy and digging in. And I do get emotional if I, don't find myself moving forward at times. And sometimes it's like the breath. It comes and goes in different seasons of expression and feelings and emotionality. When I do and when I don't. So, yeah.
Got you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this has been amazing. Please tell our audience where they can find you and what you're working on next, if you care to share. Latarsha, we'll start with you.
Instagram, Latarsha Rose. That is my handle. And I have a YouTube channel for my sci-fi podcast, which I am the voice and creator of. It's called Hello, I'm Verti. It is the reflections of a sentient AGI. And then I have an episode of Will Trent coming up soon, which was a joy. And I'm around and creating as well. That's sort of my goal right now. I'm putting out some projects out into the world.
Liyah?
Nice. Hey guys. So I'm Liyah Chante. You can find me across all socials, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, what have you, at I am. So IAM Liyah Chante, exactly how it's spelled right here. So yeah, be my bestie, follow me, let's connect and whatnot. And then also if you're like a talented person, looking to learning to like market yourself a bit better on social media, feel free to click the link in my bio. I may have some strategies for you there.
I'm gonna hit you up, Liyah, because I suck at that.
Reach out to me. I got you. I got y'all.
Jibre.
So last thing I want to say is, if you want to be an artist or be an entertainer, make sure you do it for the right reasons. Continue to inspire the world, continue to change the world, continue to touch lives, continue to make a positive difference in the world. I feel like as actors, and as performers, we get on a platform to where we have the ability to literally inspire the world through our work. Like, I don't think people understand the responsibility that we have and like how can you not use it for positivity. So I want to kind of like be the person to do, to do that, you know what I mean? And actually I want people to be inspired by my work, you know what I mean? So yeah, just do it for the right reasons. Obviously, the fame can come from what we do, but like, again, use that platform for something greater than yourself, because it's always bigger than you. So yeah, but outside of that, yes, you can find me on Instagram, mainly at Jibre.Hordges, as it's displayed on the screen, Jibre.Hordges. And yeah, so I'm actually a part of a new soap opera that is on CBS. It actually just premiered on Monday. It's called Beyond the Gates. Yes, make sure y'all tap in. It's the first Black hour-long soap opera ever, first greenlit soap opera in 25 years. It portrays Black excellence, Black success. So that leads me into this, like I said, to be a series regular on a TV show to where, we can show Black wealth and people of color, excellence, affluence, power, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. It's important. Like I said, it's bigger than me. It's literally for the culture. So make sure y'all tune in weekdays at 2 p.m. I play Jacob Hawthorne, who is the robbery homicide detective for the DC Metro Police Department. So yeah, make sure y'all tune in so y'all can follow me there. And yeah, y'all tap in.
I love it. Well, we are so happy to have had you guys. Thank you for hanging out for a little while longer than expected, for sharing your stories, your truths, your experiences, your encouragement to the audience. Our audience is made up of filmmakers, as well as aspiring actors, some working actors, and everything in between. So, we thank you for being on a conversation with Floyd Marshall Jr. and myself, Okema T. And me as a writer, director, producer, actor. I'm so inspired by all of you. Please know that I believe I'm already following y'all, but I'm gonna double check, because just in case, I want to make sure that I am, so I can shout them names out and be like, let me tell you about these people. They are amazing, and just follow them. And please follow back so we can commiserate and, just continue to support. And just thank you for what you do and how you do it and why you do it. We are in a place where our history and our intentions are consistently misconstrued and manipulated for an agenda that wants to erase us. And the more that you all do what you do, how you do it, and why you do it, is the more that we can continue to nullify and vilify all the things that are coming at us and for us, and still be reminded that resistance and, our joy is resistance, and our creative work is part of the resistance. So thank you for how you resist in this space and how you lift us up while doing it. It means the world.
Thank you so much. And thank you for you two as well in creating this space and community for us to all be celebrated and to make sure we write our histories.
Absolutely.
Well, Floyd created this space. He was kind enough to invite me into it with him.
Yeah, well, that was a no-brainer. That was an absolute no-brainer. But again, I can't really say too much after everything that Okema just said. But I just want to say this to my audience. This is such a phenomenal film with a phenomenal group of people. And I don't want people to miss what happened. An all-Black cast basically dominated the streaming space for damn near a month. An all-Black cast dominated the streaming platforms for damn near a month. So when they tell us that we can't, as Bobby said earlier, the numbers don't lie. The talent does not lie. So anyone that's watching this or will be watching this in the future, when someone tells you that you can't, ignore them, because those people are not for you. Find people like the amazing people that we've been talking to for the last hour and 15 minutes, and inform your tribe, inform your circle, and don't be afraid to make that short film. Don't be afraid to write that script, because you never know what will happen if you do. But this has been such an amazing podcast. Liyah, I'm gonna be hitting you up, because I saw some of those products that you be showing with Timo. I'm like, oh, that look kind of dope. I need that in my life. You had the three computer joint. I'm like, what is that? I had to look at, and then the handheld camera thing.
I'm like, I always say brands are always looking to collaborate, man, especially with artists. Telling y'all.
Yeah, but again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining myself, the amazing Latarsha Rose, the amazing Liyah, Chante, the incomparable Jibre, Hordges,
Jibre.
and it's all Jibre. See, I said Jibre all day until the last one because I looked you up and I listened to another. The dude was like Jibre. I was like, I'm glad I checked. But Jibre, Hordges,
yeah,
and don't forget about that, ladies and gentlemen. This brother is on TV making history. Generations was the last all-black, basically the all-black soap.
I done told my agent,
1989.
please get me an audition for Beyond the Gate. I done told my agent, literally was like, please get them auditions rolling and please. Because I used to be on As the World Turns. So come on.
Yes.
So that's amazing.
And it is done.
Yeah, that was because I got married in 88. Generations started in 89. So that was 36 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. 36 years ago. Think about that. That's great. History is being made. And if you have not watched Beyond the Gates,
get on
please go watch it. And let me say this, even if you are not a fan of soap operas, if you have multiple TVs in your house, turn it on. Turn it on and then go do something else and get those numbers up because it is so important for us to support us. You know, you turn the TV on in another room and you ain't watch. So turn that TV on, you know, and but that's a story for
maybe I will white noise the show in a minute so that the numbers look the way they need to.
Yeah.
Hey,
I appreciate y'all because we are making history and I feel like representation is everything. So, you know, I want people that look like us, that are younger than us, older than us, to look at the screen and say, wow, like we can do it. Like you said, Floyd, you know what I mean? People of color, especially with the whole DEI stuff going on right now, to be able to turn on the TV and see some Black affluence, some Black wealth, like real strong Black love is rare. You know what I mean? So, and in the show, I play a loving, devoted husband. So like to be able to showcase that to millions of people every day is like, it's a blessing. It really is. So that's why I say it's bigger than myself. Like it's about what people are going to see and how that's going to affect them. You know what I mean? So definitely run the numbers up, tune in each and every day, weekdays at 2 p.m. on CBS. But no, I appreciate y'all for having this platform so we can come on here, like Latarsha said, how, you know, we can come on here and you know, and spread the word and, you know, continue to motivate and inspire people. So thank y'all for having the platform and thank y'all for having us.
Well, thank you guys for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come and see us. Because, you know, we got movie stars, we got influencers.
We got vets out here.
You know, Emmy Award winning directors. But I can't wait for award season because I know you guys are going to be standing on someone's podium accepting something at some stage of the game. Because as you said earlier, Jibre, if you can see it, it's going to happen. And I really see that for you guys. And I am so excited. But again, see, we're running over, but I cannot get out of here without saying how much, Latarsha, I enjoyed your character on Being Mary Jane. I cannot leave here without saying that was such an amazing character. And I just wanted to give you your flowers because you've been doing this since 2000. And the fact that you have such longevity in the business and you're such a phenomenal and beautiful and humble person, that just speaks volumes about you and all of you. This has been a pleasure. And I can't wait to have you guys back on. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining myself, Jibre, Hordges, Latarsha Rose, Liyah Chante, my amazing co-host, Okema T on A Conversation With. Make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. Get those numbers up
wherever you get your podcast.
Because we on all the streaming platforms. We ain't playing. We ain't playing with this. And we'll just I will end it as please.
We are also presently, we have gone from number 15 to number 4 on the best independent podcast list in the last month.
Congratulations.
That is amazing.
We ain't playing.
Wow, congrats, y'all.
We don't play.
So y'all are tuning into the best with the best for the best.
Let's
go. Y'all have a good night. For you three, please don't log off yet. But
yeah, we gotta do our picture.
We gotta do our usual.
Sure.
We gotta do our picture.
But let's sign off and then we can do it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, love it like a hobby, but treat it like a business. Have an absolutely phenomenal evening. Peace.